Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to episode 6 of the Mic Drop Show. I'm your host, Mike Johnson, and joining me today on this episode is content creator Jedi Mike 7, also known as Michael Sowell. So, Michael, how are you, my friend?
Doing good, man. Thank you for having me. Good talking to you again.
Of course, man. This is awesome. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Looking forward to talking about this film.
Awesome, man. So, before we talk about, the Marvels, just all this movie stuff that we got to talk about, I wanted to ask you a couple things about yourself and your content. So, for starters, why do you want to become a content creator?
So I've always been into movies ever since I was like, young, and film and everything. I've always been getting to more of the behind the scenes part of the film, talking about box office, direction, acting, production on films and stuff like that. And I've just been growing into that in terms of, my fandom of more taking like an ESPN approach to it. So like when movie news and stuff drop, I always want to do it. And I've been following a few content creators since like I was in middle school. And then when I got older, because technological advancements, we have links and live streams, you're able to call in, and then realize some of the content creators were just, a couple blocks away from me, and then they inspired me to want me to start my own channel. And then but also beyond that, in terms of getting to more of the movie critic side. And a couple months ago, I think around August, I got into the African American Film Critic Association. So and able to interview. I was able to go to Comic-Con and interview people and stuff like that. So this year just been a dream come true, and it only goes up from here. But also collaborating people, realizing that I'm not the only one. So
Yeah.
but yeah, man, yeah.
Wow, that's so awesome, man. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
Now, also, what is the one thing that motivates you each and every day to wake up and do what you love?
Really, my glorious purpose, no pun intended. But no, seriously, I feel like, uh, basically, even just in my being a content creator, able to inspire people, realize, seems that things that you're passionate about and able to talk about it. And, for me, I get like, really happy about it. And to me, when I'm around people, I like to see what they're interested in and see them happy in
Yeah.
what they're interested in. So, even just at work and also continue to grow in whatever field that you're trying to do. That's what to me, gives me purpose, especially like this is I'm able to provide for my family. I just got married this year. So, and now that I'm able to express like my fandom or my passion through things, and surrounded by people who want to see me happy about what I'm doing and not thinking that
Yeah.
the thing I'm doing is weird or anything, or talking about something I'm passionate about. It's like, oh, that's just corny. No, my wife did all of this. So,
Oh, wow.
so yeah. So, if it happened for me, it can happen for you. But that what, definitely gives me purpose, is seeing people, grow in the passions that they're doing.
Wow, that is so great. Thank you for sharing that, man. I love your story.
Absolutely.
All right, so now it is time to talk about the newest MCU film that has dropped this weekend, The Marvels. I saw the film on Friday, and you saw it early on what, on Monday
Tuesday.
or Tuesday? Yeah. So first off, what are just like your overall thoughts on this film, and then we'll talk about the things that we liked and that we didn't like.
Hmm. And then this is spoiler, right?
Oh yeah, also that there will be massive spoilers in this episode, so if you have not watched The Marvels, go watch it, then come back to this episode later.
Hmm. Yeah. So one of the benefits for me that I get to see this film early is that I get to see away from public's perception of this movie in terms of like, the first initial reaction of stuff.
Yeah,
People part of my like team or the platform that I work with, aside from my own channel, some of them are Rotten Tomato critics. So I understand that they get, definitely a bad rap, but at the same time, they're skilled in what they're doing. But with this film, I think with Marvel in the last few movies, I really was kind of going a steady decline just in terms of just
yeah,
quality. But again, I'm still, watching it. This is the first, Marvel movie directed by a Black woman, Nia DaCosta.
yeah,
Definitely love Miss Marvel, love Monica Rambeau, and with Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. I hope this was just going to be a second attempt for me to, feel like I can attach his character, because in the previous installments I feel like I just haven't. And when I was going to this, I know this film just get bad rap, obviously, with female superheroes and all stuff like that.
yeah.
But again, I was just trying to go with low expectations, and just go from there. But yeah.
Yeah, so overall, just my thoughts on this film is that I thought it was like a fun time. Uh, I heard all of like the early reviews that kind of brought down my hype for it. But then once I saw it, I thought that it was like a fun time. I said in like my thoughts about the film that I'd watch this movie over the Ant-Man 3 film, and I'd probably watch it over Thor 4 that came out. Yeah, because it's just like it's a fun time, and those films are also fun, but I guess they're just like lacking something.
Mhm.
But this film just whatever it is, they just brought back the charm of fun Marvel.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
yeah, yeah, I felt that it was entertaining. Like the way the key thing you said was entertaining, right? I
yeah,
think then my issue was with the film is that okay, based on also previous installments of the MCU, you have a standard of what you consider to be like, oh, when Marvel movies come out is an event. Now, since after Endgame and stuff, and slowly, some of these Marvel movies have not been event films; they've been entertainment.
yeah,
For the most part, but again, I think I was going to expectation thinking, okay, Marvel need this win, especially with the Variety article that came out the week
yeah.
prior, which did not help this movie at all.
No,
And also we were in a strike, so no actors could not promote the show, no Jimmy Kimmel, no Jimmy Fallon interviews, nothing like that to actually promote this film and show awareness. And that I think that really was kind of what hurt this film from the initial perception. Then when you actually go through it and see, like, it is entertaining, but definitely it has some problems.
yeah, yes, it's I I totally agree with what you're saying. Fun time, but unfortunately, like most people didn't like the average audience. I don't think knows about this film because there was no, as you said, the strike was happening, so that there was no like uh interviews with like any of like the cast, so most people didn't know about the film, but like if you're a fan of Marvel, then you did, but just like the average person probably didn't know about it, and that hurt the film. But I guess just once you see it, it's a fun time.
Yeah, and my perception changed after the second viewing because I
Yeah.
saw it. There definitely was a different reaction when the first time I saw it with room of critics, and then the
Hmm.
second time watch with my wife and a normal, just audience and stuff. And like there are people that were clapping, and then
Yeah.
then the second day, my wife was really into it and stuff. And I think again, it was some parts again. The part that was entertaining is one was with Miss Marvel and the in addition of
Yes.
Monica Rambeau. Again, but really with Miss Marvel, Mon Vellani is the best part of this movie. And anybody saying the word is she annoying or anything like that, no. But she is the best part, and her family definitely is the best part of this
Yeah.
film because, yeah, all the tropes for me, I felt when Miss Marvel got this is basically for me was like Miss Marvel season 2, and which can
Yeah.
be also a positive and negative because it's supposed to be a Captain Marvel sequel.
Yeah.
But again, like this was Miss Marvel, and there's no scene where she was in that I was just annoyed in or anything. Every time she was on screen, her charm, talking about you mentioned about the MCU charm, she brings
Mhm.
that back because there's in the current fan base right now, we don't have the moments now we can geek out like we used to, but yet we
Yeah.
have the character of Miss Marvel to now remind us where we were of just a few couple of years ago,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So again, the whole family, her charm and everything was that. And definitely with Monica Rambeau, she definitely adds the emotional weight of this movie in any parts where it's lacking. Because yeah, she was, she killed it with WandaVision and definitely continues with this in this film.
Yeah. So, you mentioned Miss Marvel, and that was the first thing I wanted to mention in my pros for this film. Mon Vellani was the standout for me. Just like I feel like she's like how do I say it? Like she is us, like she is and one of us, like she's not just like an actor who's acting her role. Like
Right.
she is like us who like knows comics, movies, and shows in real life. So I feel like that just her, in that one scene, like naming all like the character names, I felt like, she is us. So I just thought that she was just a big standout for me. I just loved her with like the other Marvels, and I didn't get bored seeing her and like her family on screen. I thought that she was really good once again, and yeah, and hopefully we get to see more of her in the future.
Yes, and definitely, they do tease to that at the end. But
Yeah,
going to also with Brie Larson, I felt that again, she able to have more freedom, I guess, in terms of her character is, in this
yes,
film than previous. films and stuff. And she's able to, I guess, just relax and just be just a regular just character instead of just being this superpower being. But and they do continue on with the thread with the last movie, especially with her relationship with Monica Rambeau.
Mhm.
It is kind of different because this is the first time we're seeing Tiana Paris with with Brie Larson and not
Yeah.
with the young girl with Brie Larson in the first film. But yeah, again, in terms of chemistry, all three of them had. I felt the chemistry they had was very unique and very, I think, organic as well because just of history. You have the fangirl, but you also have someone who was your aunt when you were a kid who left and now they came back. So it's
Yeah.
definitely not just like, oh, they're just thrown in together and these people have no way of relating with each other. They definitely do. So the chemistry for me worked with them in this film. So that's definitely a positive.
Yeah, totally. Also a big thing that I liked was the action because, just them like switching spots all the times that they use their powers was just so cool for me. So what was your, I guess, favorite action scene in this film?
Definitely was the house sequence. Like it's
Yes.
just like I was watching this like as when we were critics, like I was with my friend, like, okay, this is pretty good. Visual effects was good, especially when when she's getting when Carol Danvers is getting out of her space pod and she just slowly just floating with the cat in space, and you have like the silhouette before she
Oh
just
yeah.
flying through space. Like no, it's like a slow shot, and until they get into the whole tanglement of her powers and stuff. But yeah, the action, the music was good. The camera work definitely worked for it. And was entertaining. And then again, the trope of them switching their powers, I felt that I wish again it was a positive. I just wanted more of that in this movie.
Yeah.
So they can just kind of just flesh that out more out because it was great. And I was feeling it. Definitely well choreographed as well. So yeah, definitely I was for it. But definitely the house sequence.
Yeah, I thought that was probably one of my favorite scenes of the whole film, just because it's so cool seeing like using your own power and then like you just switch with someone else. Like I just thought that was scene was just so cool. And my personal favorite like action scene, that's probably my second one, but my first has probably got to be the final battle, maybe. But I get it, like it was slow or like very quick, but I still kind of liked it. So
Mhm. Yeah, especially like with the final like sequence with the hammer, with the
yeah,
villain and everything like that. They definitely do a good job with that. Again, I just wish they just would have that more fleshed out with just terms of switching of powers, more again. But obviously, this is what you can do in an hour and a
yeah.
half in a long movie and stuff like that. So yeah.
Now speaking of the villain, let's talk about our cons of this movie. So first off, my biggest thing about this movie is the villain, because once again, we just have like a Marvel villain who's just not that like fleshed out as a character. And overall, I didn't care for her. So what are your thoughts on the villain of the movie?
Again, this is another added list to the one of the most generic, Marvel villains in the MCU.
Yeah.
But shout out to this is Tom Hiddleston's wife. But I asked people what's the villain's name in this movie, and then they take a minute for them until they look in their
Like
phone to realize who it is.
Adar Ben, I think.
Exactly, but like, but we know, like, can we look it up and everything?
Yeah.
So I asked, what's the villain's name in this? My wife, I don't know, like
No
exactly,
idea. Yeah.
right, and but also just in terms of the MacGuffin of it, with their, with having the Ronan the Accuser's hammer, but then yet they're just power source that's purple. But we know the last time he used it, he had the Power Stone, but now the Power Stone is destroyed now. So
Yeah.
then, what is that power in the hammer that she's now using? So again, who cares? And yeah, and so that again, those MacGuffins just in terms of character. I understand the motivation, especially with her relationship with Captain Marvel. But again, another con, again, I said the biggest thing I said with this film is that it's disjointed. There's
Yeah.
very things that are missing from this film, especially when they get to the whole point about Carol Danvers being the annihilator, right? Like, okay, we get flashbacks of it, but then it's like, okay, when did when this scene happened, when she went back to Hala, destroyed the Supreme Intelligence and stuff? Because apparently while her was a deleted scene they were having the first movie, but they cut it out.
Oh,
And but
actually.
yeah, so the
Oh,
scene of her, showing the Supreme Intelligence and everything, but again, is uh there's feel like we're missing either an episode or like another movie between the first Captain Marvel movie and this to
yeah.
explain about the whole thing of her going back to Holland, destroying, the Supreme Intelligence, and then basically eradicating, the resources of that planet. right?
Yeah.
Whether either intentionally or unintentionally, right? But yeah, that thing was just it was like, okay, that's something you probably should have said, at the beginning of the movie, Carol.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's again, that's really what was going on. I had issues with. And I guess if we're in the cons point of it too, the biggest thing again is terms of the MCU connectivity. Now, they get to things at the end of starting connecting things more, but the road we had to do to get into here,
Yeah.
I felt was really frustrating as a fan. Now, again, you can say this film is entertaining, but I'm talking about how okay, in terms of being MCU, great. So I'm like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was great.
Yeah.
Okay, Spider-Man No Way Home was great, right? But now this is the fourth in the last five movies, i.e. Thor Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, Ant-Man, that's been either mid good or to just bad. All
Yeah.
right. And that's not saying going to just harping on this movie, just like because there was good things in this. I was laughing a lot through this movie, right?
Yeah.
And some of the comedy that we're doing, one positive, but it just like they had missed opportunities where they get to this. To me, that took me out of the movie. This High School Musical thing in the middle of the movie, of them
Oh, yeah.
that just completely just took me out. And then suddenly all these people just turn like her dress just turns into Tinkerbell Disney
Yeah.
princess dress out of nowhere, and I'm just like, okay, like what's happening now? And but
Yeah.
some people are like, oh, I don't care. It's funny. It's like whatever. I'm like, logically, like, what does that mean? Like, what? You
Yeah.
just have where the pixie dust just come out of nowhere?
Yeah.
But yeah, that
Yeah.
that again, it just disjointed. Like, just scenes in this movie that don't belong, and I'm like wondering why did they add this into this film? What added into this? Like just laughter and comedy because it's
Yeah.
Disney? No, like
Yeah. And like, uh my second thing I hated about this film was like the thing, like the singing planet thing, as you said. And I'm actually after that first trailer dropped, I want to say that in about June or July, I heard a rumor that they were gonna like recut and like just remove all that scene, like them on that planet. And then that kind of got me a bit hopeful because I heard that like in the comics there was like a planet where like they sang or like they spoke but sing. So and then once the movie came out, I was like, what is this? Like it didn't really like logically make sense, as you said. So I just didn't really care for all that. And just like the villain's main goal was like steal the water from that planet and like refuel her planet, Paula. Like that just I didn't really I didn't understand that really.
yeah, because again, it's like the point was because it's tied to the villain. Like again, her power set. It's like okay, we have to go find it. Oh, get this other bangle. Then when she gets the other bangle, oh, she instantly dies. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, what was the whole point of it? But and they're doing this whole portal stuff, which we've seen in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
But
yeah.
again, it's just some things where I'm just kind of confused about. Where it's like, okay, if if Carol can just go to the sun and reheat it and stuff, wouldn't what was the whole point of just saying, hey, you screwed us over, can you help us out and stuff like that?
Exactly.
Even then, another thing, the connectivity of this movie supposed to connect to all the Disney Plus shows, right? I can tell you this: if you have not watched any of the Disney Plus shows, there are gonna be some things where you're gonna be really confused about, and stuff like that. Whether you just suspend your disbelief and just watch an entertaining movie, okay. But I saw Secret Invasion. There's a lot of things when this film was happening. I was asking, "Hey, Nick Fury, where's your wife?" There's
Exactly.
like, like, where's your
Yes.
wife? Hey, there's scrolls are just taking L's in this universe, I guess, right? They don't.
Wait, yeah, because also, spoiler, Valkyrie showed up, and Valkyrie took the scrolls. So logically, Valkyrie is the king of Asgard. So, and Asgard or New Asgard is on Earth. So wouldn't people know that the scrolls are now back on Earth? And like after the show, uh, the president like called out all of the scrolls. So now if they hear about, oh yeah, more scrolls are on this planet, then wouldn't they just go after the scrolls and on like Asgard and all that stuff?
Oh, I'll do you one better. In the last Captain Marvel movie, we had whole thing about with Talos and find oh wait, scrolls are not evil. They're just misunderstood and
Yeah.
stuff. Okay, there is a scene literally of young Gaia as a little girl playing with young Monica Rambeau at their house with and stuff, right? So I'm like, we just had Secret Invasion. This woman's now the new powerful being in the whole Marvel universe.
Where's Gaia?
Hey, I got a friend I could call over. Who you beam up? Beam up Valkyrie. Oh, hey, I could just beam up somebody who's
Bro.
actually dealt with this whole civil war of scrolls we just happened. And by the way, she's literally a god, so it's like she can help us out, right? No, no, no. So
No.
no, which again, Nick. I even said in my review, I enjoy Nick Fury in this movie more than 6 episodes Secret Invasion, because in this movie he was actually Nick Fury. Like his personality, comedy, more. And even though I understand with Secret Invasion the emotional route that he took,
Yeah.
but it was just like, okay, this is Nick Fury. But if it's not connecting with this stuff, like, where's your wife? I was like, I kept asking, like, yo, where's his wife? Where's Gaia?
I know,
Hey,
yeah.
galaxies going to different planets and stealing resources and stuff. Where's the Guardians of the Galaxy? Like the new Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah.
right? Hey, Miss Marvel's bangle was in a 10 rings temple. Where's Shang-Chi?
Bro. Yeah.
I was just like, I was watching Miss Marvel and I'm like, okay, oh, there's a Shang-Chi connection. Oh, I remember in the end of Shang-Chi, Captain Marvel was there. Oh, she said the 10 rings has a beacon to somewhere. Beacon to where? We don't know. So, hey, we haven't seen movies like almost what, 5 movies prior from Shang-Chi to now. And now it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you have an opportunity to bring this dude back to connect everything from the Miss Marvel show and also from the end credit scene of Shang-Chi where Captain Marvel was there. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, no, we don't know where he's at. He's still on planet Earth, whatever. And the
Yeah.
10 rings have no connection to the Bengals whatsoever. Okay. Because I actually thought the 10 rings was the other Bengal if you put them all together.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
and the beacon, I guess now we can get to the ending of it. Okay, so they cannot identify where this thing was coming from. Well, we know the Bengals were tied to whoever the noir, whatever the source for Miss Marvel stuff, and they're
Oh,
from a
yeah.
different, right. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm thinking that the Shang-Chi thing, they're probably from a different universe or something, or
Yeah.
they're a beacon to a different universe, right? So, but again, you don't connect all of that. It's just like we're still watching, like, wait, where's next to it? And
Yeah.
then right, and I'm not trying to keep hogging the mic or anything, but it's just like it was just a whole
No,
list
yeah.
of things where I'm just like I was just kind of going and I had to take a step back. I'm like, okay, listen, is this a bad movie because logically as MCU it's not making any sense? Or
Yeah.
am I just like being jaded, just saying, hey, can you just enjoy this movie for what it is, just being an entertaining movie? And I watched second time. This movie is rewatchable.
Yeah.
Yes, it is rewatchable. I'll watch this movie more times over than Ant-Man and
Yeah.
more times over than the first Captain Marvel. Definitely. But I still had issues. And I feel like it's okay to state that we have these issues and not be like, oh, we don't like these female characters. Like, I just want these characters being a better movie. And it's none of the
Yes.
performances, not even the direction of Neil Costa, the director. To me,
Mhm.
I felt it really was Disney and Marvel interference, saying, "Hey, we're gonna add this scene here. We got to re-edit it," and it got so much delays from this
Yeah.
film, and that really gave the bad rap to the director because she had to move on to a different project. But like,
Yes.
that wasn't her fault, So yeah, that was really. I just want these characters to be in a better movie because I
Yeah.
know these characters are worth a good film, and then definitely you see this film like they're like Amon Villani and Monica Rambeau are basically your best characters in these films. And not to knock on Brie Larson, but it's just like, yeah, it's almost like another case of Batman versus Superman. Well, we
Yeah.
could make a Superman sequel, but no, let's add every Justice League character into this film and no and and
Yeah.
like, go for that. So that's really what I got from this.
And yeah, one more con that I have with this film is okay. First Captain Marvel movie, from the trailers to like everything, they were hyping her up to be the most powerful character in the MCU. And she kind of was from Captain Marvel, Endgame, just
And
all that stuff. Like she beat Thanos. And but how was she struggling against someone who has like just like a hammer as their weapon and like some bangles? Like if she was the most powerful, just go like I don't know, like that kind of thing, It's like end her like right there. Like why have like a whole movie just like talking with her and trying to fight her, and you need other people to help fight her with you, even though you should be the most powerful character or one of now, you know?
And again, that's the point. I honestly feel that this is that Marvel or somewhat, they actually listen to some of the toxic fandom, or character, or some critics or viewers who don't like female characters or have an issue with a strong female character. This is the issue again with Star Wars, you
Yeah,
know, is that when you listen to certain fandom who don't know what they're talking about, but also you write yourself in a corner where you don't know how to write a female character, whether you make them super strong or you make them very weak. And that's what is in this film, where they're like, okay, she is like definitely nerfed in this film. And it's showed,
yes,
and it's almost laughable, because like just the switch of like, it's not like with Wonder Woman where, oh, she was fighting Cheetah and stuff, and every time she's using her powers, her powers getting drained because of the whole magic element,
yeah,
stuff like that from Wonder Woman 84. That made sense because her powers being drained. But like, we know that this person, her bangle absorbs powers, but still's like, this woman's not flying, she's
yeah,
not like, and you just fought Captain Marvel first. And I'm like, oh, so are you like the new, like the rogue? If that's the case, you should have been killing everybody. You didn't need a whole army. You were the army,
exactly,
So, and with Captain Marvel going through different ships in the first movie, like just
yeah.
left and right and taking out everything. And now to this one, you can't even fight someone with a hammer and half of a bangle. And just like, it just didn't make any sense to me.
And like,
So
and like, I get like, their powers are like switching, but even before they switch, just end it right there, Like, why? Like, I just
or break, like when the moments they got the hammer away from her, break it.
break the hammer. Yeah, exactly.
And you're Captain Marvel. Don't say you can't break
Yeah,
nothing. Oh, like and so yes, that way when you had the hammer away, she wasn't able, like when that debris got on her and impaled her, and
yeah.
then when she tried to attack Miss Marvel, she wasn't able to because she didn't have the hammer. So but again, and lastly, now we can get into it. The ending of it all, right? So,
Yeah,
one positive again, like Miss Marvel reacting the Nick Fury thing,
yeah.
the mean Tony Stark. Now, how does she know that in the exact lines in that universe?
I don't
I don't. Yeah.
know.
Um. But I meeting Kate Bishop, love Kate Bishop and Hawkeye. So, but
Yes.
again, I just want them to be in a good film or Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
And able to utilize those characters in the best way. But the con was we waited this long for them to actually do that. It just like to a
Mm.
point where I can tell you, as someone who not only is a critic but as a fan, there's some fans who were like, they gave up on this because
And yeah, because like I've been seeing things like Marvel will make out or will make this film come before the Kang movie and then Secret Wars, right? Well, how much longer are we gonna wait for like the end, Because like Young Avengers, Spider-Man 4, Armor Wars, all of these movies and shows, how much longer are we gonna have to wait until like the bigger picture?
and we'll get into that. I'm gonna get to that point because I know some stuff behind the scenes but before I get to that, again, so like when that point of getting to the connectivity is like, their fans like, well, I don't care anymore now because you did it, not because this scene was bad, just like I don't care anymore. Like,
Yeah,
okay, you're gonna do Young Avengers, you should have done it like back in beginning of like 2022 or something like that,
yeah,
but anyway, now with the other ending with Monica being trapped in another universe. She wakes up, she sees a version of her mother, but it's not her mother. And all of a sudden, she find out that Beast walks in saying that you're in a new reality,
yeah.
parallel to your own. And then we see that Monica or Maria, her mother, is not the same Captain Marvel from the 838 Doctor Strange universe. She's a
Mhm.
character called Binary. I did a video breaking that whole down. You can check out my channel.
Yeah, I saw that.
Um, and Binary is a character like Captain Marvel, but is a little bit different in terms of her. She gets her power through radiation, and because of
Mhm.
that, is able to change her DNA and actually makes her into a mutant, which is why
Yeah,
that character Binary in the comics is part of the X-Men. So now Monica is in the X-Men universe, or a X-Men universe, because there's Beast, refers to Charles Xavier, which we know that in the 838 universe, Charles Xavier died,
yeah,
in Doctor Strange by a Scarlet Witch and stuff. So, and other X-Men realities like Logan and everything. So it's his own thing. Definitely that this is a CGI beast, not the but it's voiced by Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
And then basically end off, she's asking, "Who are you?" And we cut off, right? So, and great end credit scene. But again, when it gets to that point, and we were watching it as the critics were like, now this came from a point of desperation at this point,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
the things that we were asking for about this connectivity, you should have done this at least not a year or two ago. And now when you did it, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so now and like
Exactly.
and that was it. Not saying it was bad. And even then, at first when I saw the beast and like visual effects, I was like, okay, this look glossy. Saw the second time, like, okay, all right, it's warming up on me. But it is the comic book accurate beast lab coat, no shirt with it,
Yeah.
and I think that works for definitely for Kelsey Grammer as age now to do that, but have a comic book accurate beast, but still have Kelsey Grammer voice him and be
Yeah.
in somewhat motion capture, with Mark Ruffalo. But
Mhm.
aside from that, they're definitely leading into definitely Deadpool 3. Now, whether it's Monica Rambeau in Deadpool 3, we shall see. But
Yeah.
the point we're talking about what's connectivity next is this. After this movie came out, the strike ended, shout out to that. A lot of movies got delayed,
Mhm.
and obviously for post-production. Even Deadpool got delayed, but not that much, which is good. It can become coming out in July, the week of Comic-Con next year.
Uh,
So
oh, it is?
yes. So the marketing of that's going to be,
Shoot.
they're definitely probably going to do a screening at Comic-Con. I
Yeah.
guarantee you.
Probably.
Um but but now the Deadpool is going to be the only MCU movie that we're getting next year.
Mhm.
And I think that actually is a good thing. Because is that it gives us time to actually just kind of just detox from this while let
Yeah.
Marvel do their thing of restructuring things. Definitely, you have your big bad dealing with the court case right now. You're also restructuring things about, hey, certain project we're doing, we need to actually cancel
Yeah.
now. So that whole list that you got about a couple of years ago is going to be out the window. I guarantee you next year's Comic-Con, there's going to be a lot of announcements of new projects and give you more structure.
Yes.
And because once 2025, we're getting 4 Marvel movies
Mhm.
from the MCU. But I think this is a good thing. I think that for people who are the harsh critics and also fandom who might be bummed about it, this actually is helping you get better quality out of the product that
Yeah.
we're buying into. And we have to take back. We were definitely spoiled as a fandom, but at the same time, we're also the things such being spoon fed and you being sick because you're being fed a lot of things of digesting it and and having just a good product. So with these movies and these shows just keep rolling out the way that they are, I think now that 2024 gives them the break that they need. But also, if Deadpool 3 is the movie that I think is going to be, then it's like, okay, you have one big win that also
Yeah.
hopefully connects everything
Yeah.
and stuff. And then we just right back to it.
Yeah.
So, and obviously, I don't think that if Deadpool is great, then it's going to like save the MCU. No, but it's just
Yeah.
the start,
Uh-huh.
into, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what I believe was going to happen.
All right, man. Well, we are almost out of time. We have 3 minutes left. So there you guys have it. We hope that you enjoyed it. Mike, do you have any more final thoughts?
Yeah, I encourage people to go see this movie. Again, my thoughts change after the second viewing. But at the same time, I still had issues with it, being disjointed or whatever. But regardless of that, after the strike and everything, that there's a lot of movies that came out the last couple of months that were good movies, like Blue
Yeah.
Beetle and stuff that did not get no marketing or nothing whatsoever, but were good films. And
Yeah.
I now that the strike just ended just right prior, to the release, I want you guys to go see this movie. It's an entertaining film is definitely is short, but it definitely is rewatchable. My wife enjoyed it. I was seeing people in the audience growing, and as you can see, the critics Rotten Tomatoes score and the audience scores are going up because.
Yeah.
And don't watch the YouTube videos or media trying to lie saying this this rating got a rotten, and then no, you just allowed it for happen and increase it. Now
Yeah.
it's a fresh, it's about like a 60 62, I think, right now.
Mhm.
But again, regardless of that, I want you guys to judge this film for yourself. And regardless of that, and just also support, just this is the first MCU movie directed by a black woman, and also
Yeah.
just and this can also just be a example of allowing creators to make the film they want to do instead of having interference by studios and stuff. So hopefully Marvel can watch what's going on, and I know they are. But
Yeah.
yeah, go see this film.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. So there you guys have it. We hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.